From Steve Bruce's point of view, it's absolutely vital that Huddersfield turn in a good performance today after that dismal effort in midweek against Scunthorpe, although Huddersfield did of course go through to the next round of the Worthington Cup. So they'll be extended today by this Crystal Palace side, brought here by Steve Coppell on the back of a fine 3-2 win at Barnsley. Palace with their financial constraints, with a squad which is fairly predictable and led up front by Lee Bradbury and Clinton Morrison. It's going to be interesting to see how they got on today against Chris Lucketti, and in particular Ken Munkow making his home league debut for Town, the recent arrival from Southampton. So straight away a throw in here for Crystal Palace, taken by the young defender Richard Harris up into that area. Bradbury got a touch on and cleared quite easily. Ken Munkow in the thick of things straight away for Huddersfield. Big strong defender who came over from Suriname and played at Chelsea before Southampton, so he's got vast experience of English football. Weinhardt with the layoff, a good one too, and supporting will be Kenny Irons. Didn't reach Simon Baldry. Town really looking for goals from midfield this season from Kenny Irons and Chris Beach. Irons was again involved there. A long high ball this time, but headed away. Dean Austin. Armstrong for Huddersfield, signed from Nottingham Forest of course last season. Now Weinhardt, the recent acquisition from Leeds, but not the best of layoffs from him. And it's a long hit up there towards Clinton Morrison, and he's one-on-one straight away. Taking on Dyson, whipping that ball in towards Bradbury. An excellent play. Munkow has had a great start to this game. But back with Morrison again. Frampton on the left, cutting that one in. And eventually it's Munkow who gets the ball away. Well, Ken Munkow couldn't have wished for a better start in front of this crowd at the McAlpine. Now Palace is big, tall man at the back there. Fanji. Square ball. This is more encouraging for Huddersfield with Chris Beach and Clyde Weinhardt. Just didn't fall kindly for Stewart. It's a nice brisk start to the game. Armstrong. They'll keep the move going with Kenny Irons, but Morrison getting back just to nip that one in the bud momentarily. Nice ball rolled in field for Weinhardt. Might be a first shot here. And it's wide of the mark. Chris Beach, who got off to a racing start last season with Hartlepool United. He scored 8 or 10 goals in the opening weeks of the season before his move to Huddersfield. Harris has got in quickly twice now for Crystal Palace at the back. A young 18-year-old local man to Palace, born in Croydon. A big strong boy as well. This is him with the throw. Famous name, Richard Harris, could be a movie star. Crystal Palace amazingly have had a reasonable start to the season. I say amazingly, bearing in mind the number of players they've had to let go. Jansen to Blackburn Rovers, Lombardo back to Italy, and David Tuttle more recently to Barnsley as well. Here is Morrison. Nice little ball rolled in for Stephen Thompson, the Scot. And then it'll be floated across. That's just going to be too far, I imagine. Nice idea though, the ball from Jamie Smith, the former Wolves player. Just had a little bit too much curl on it and allowed to run dead by Nico Vassen. Vassen, of course, Huddersfield's Player of the Year in his first season, following his move here from FC Ulst in Belgium. Lovely cushioned header from Marcus Stewart. Weinhardt on the chest. There's nobody really for him to knock it to, but he's a very enthusiastic player, the Dutchman. Came to Leeds at the start of last season from Willem II, who interestingly enough are now in the European Champions League. Huge throw from Harris, well read by Monkow. Bradbury has come deep, assisted by his captain Roger. Couldn't quite find young Frampton out on that left-hand side, another of the youngsters, just 19 years of age. That's a good flick on. Got up very well there, Stewart. This is a good layoff. Irons continues the move. Dyson with the cross ball in. Vinehart battling for it. And it comes off a Huddersfield boot, but directly into the arms of Fraser Digby. A lovely sunlit afternoon, a very warm one too. We'll think back to this afternoon, perhaps in January and February, when we're huddled on the gantry in freezing cold conditions. But today could not be nicer. Monkow was a regular fixture at Southampton last season. Armstrong. That's good play. Stewart always available, always prefers the left foot. Squared on by Beach. Now Simon Baldry, the local boy, getting a start in the side at the start of the season, and well, inventive play from Baldry, but Dean Austin got across. Stewart. Huddersfield have had a really indifferent sort of start to the season. A good win here against Blackburn Rovers, but the away performance is not really matching. That's a nice little flicked header from Vinehart though. Baldry now couldn't get the cross in. And good defensive play by Frampton. Huddersfield with plenty of possession up inside that Crystal Palace half, but they've really got to use it. Squared this time, and a good thump of the left boot from Craig Armstrong. Always drifting wide, however. He's only got the one goal for Huddersfield, which was back in March in that great game against Bolton Wanderers. Sliced straight up in the air by Luchetti. Headed down by Fanji. Vinehart shows his strength. Clyde Vinehart in the side in preference to Wayne Allison at the moment, but keen to make an impression, clearly. Away goes Stewart down the right-hand channel, and Vinehart calling for it. A chance here for Clyde Vinehart! Hits the side netting. Encouraging build-up play between the two strikers, though. When Simon Osborne reversed it there, it was Vinehart's tenacity which helped win the ball. Kenny Irons floating it out down that right touchline, where Marcus Stewart, confronted by Mullins, spotted the run by the Dutchman, and Vinehart really meets this one full whack. Armstrong figuring prominently at the moment. Well, a fine pass out to Baldry on that far side. He's really got to use it well, though. Trying to bring Dyson into play. And Roger at full stretch can only concede possession, and Huddersfield certainly mopping things up well in midfield at the moment. They need a goal, however, and Vinehart tries to provide one. Lovely movement. That is a quite magnificent goal. With Stewart and Vinehart involved, it's Chris Beach who strokes the ball into that Palace net. But look at the touches here. Vinehart with two touches stabs it through. The back heel from Stewart, perfect to open the Palace door. What a goal. Well, I think the Huddersfield fans have been lifted by that strike, as home fans always are. And certainly interesting to see how Palace respond now. They've proved themselves capable of scoring goals already this season. Jamie Smith, Simon Roger and Clinton Morrison have 2 apiece. Harris, and he's got this ability to throw them very long in there, and it requires all Moncal's experience to handle the situation. But you can expect another one from Harris here. And he looks to me quite capable of landing it to the backstick if he wants. Fooled us all, it nearly did get to the backstick though. And not a bad little effort really, that. But still 1-0 Town, but the throw-ins of Harris posing a bit of a problem. The band striking up with Huddersfield Town a goal to the good. And what a very good goal it was. Chris Beech's 2nd strike of the season so far. He also scored in that 2-0 Worthington Cup win at Scunthorpe. As I said earlier, he does tend to get to 10 or 12 goals a season from midfield. Fraser Digby can only get it up towards halfway, where it's knocked back by Fanji. Not enthusiastically brought out. Hit crossfield by Thompson. This is Morrison, who's had a good start to the season. He's a bright player. Frampton with the cross in, low and dangerous. Headed away by Lucchetti. Roger the captain. And that will not trouble Nico Vassen. A good long hit from Vassen as well. Palace in a little bit of disarray there before Austin squeezed the pass away. And here goes the former England under-21 player Smith. Jamie Smith, who moved to Palace in exchange for Dougie Freedman, the Scottish striker from Wolves. Baldry, nice little touch. Much more confident play by Baldry. He's very much a confidence player. And things are going well for him. He's dangerous. And he's whipped across in here, which will yield a corner. Looks like being the outswinger from Scott Sellers. And it's in there towards Weinhardt, and Fraser Digby really struggling. Finally gets a grasp on the ball. But Town 1 up, could have been 2 up. And they're winning the ball back so quickly. Baldry again will be down the right channel, and he's receiving good service from Irons at the moment. Floated in this time towards Weinhardt, taken on the chest. Here is Stewart, here is Weinhardt, surely number 2. Beautiful tackle. And that's exactly what Town needed, a cushion. And Clyde Weinhardt scores his 2nd goal as a Huddersfield player. His other one came on the opening day of the season at Queen's Park Rangers, but this is his 1st at the McAlpine. And it all comes about because Marcus Stewart really scuffed his attempt. Doesn't matter how they go in. 2-0. Always a great moment for a player to get his 1st goal in front of the home fans. Taken on by Morrison this time. Hasn't got much support. He looks up now, and Rogers arriving ahead of him. Thompson. Well in again, Ken Moncau. He really has had an impressive first half. And it'll be picked up again here. Sellers. Referee George Kane already spotted the infringement. Well, they really are revelling in the sunshine at the McAlpine Stadium today, Huddersfield. Palace just looking a little disorganised at the moment, as though they're not quite sure of one another's responsibilities. Luchetti, another of Steve Bruce's summer signings. Then Baldry gets the better of the ricochet. Vinehard, who really is leading the line superbly well, but this one's floated too close to Digby. Now Andrew Frampton made his debut at Norwich City back in April, and finding Morrison. They really don't have too many options up front, Crystal Palace, with Bruce Dyer having moved on to Barnsley, Matt Jansen to Blackburn Rovers. Harris with a little chip ball in there, wasn't bad, but Moncau knew exactly where he needed to be. Smith will clip it back in here. So again it's Moncau, he seems to have been everywhere at the back. Oh, and again that typifies the way it's going for Palace, the ball rebounding off Irons. And now Bradbury, man who's cost over £4 million in total with his moves. Vinehart gets the critical touch, and he's allowed to get his second one, and that again just shows the lack of tenacity showing in this Palace side. Cut out this time, however. That was Hayden Mullins. Yet again, the ball with the men in the blue and white stripes. Beach. Nice little potted ball through for Irons. Stewart rolled in here for Vinehard. They're teeing it up, and this really is splendid football from Huddersfield, but they're being allowed to play it around. And Kenny Irons still looking for his first goal as a Huddersfield player. In on the end of this move. He got 18 last season with Tranmere, so I'm sure it will not be long before he does hit the net. Harris with another of these huge missiles. Off! Climbed right over the top of Vinehard, who gets his own back. Oh, lovely skill from the Dutchman. He's got a sublime touch. Well, Town really have passed it around superbly well in this half, and Palace just do not know what to do about it. Dyson, knocked back by Stewart. Everybody involved and everybody wanting the ball. That is the difference that a two-goal lead has made. How long since you heard them chanting Olé at the McAlpine? Or is there a goal on the end of it? It will be some goal if it is. It's a goal, all right. And Kenny Irons has his first for Huddersfield. And there must have been a dozen touches involved in the build-up there. This is the latter part of the move, but with Stewart and Armstrong, Sellers, Irons himself. Well, it's all too simple, but I told you Kenny Irons gets goals just like that. 3-0. Well, Palace are shell-shocked. I saw them at Barnsley a couple of weeks ago when they won 3-2, and they played pretty well there. But this has been a shadow of that side. And to be fair to Huddersfield, they've made them look poor. They have got the consolation of a corner. Taken by the Scottish under-18 international Thompson, in from Roger. And that's where Huddersfield have scored, just little knock-ons like that, just to take the steam out of situations. And Palace haven't won too many 50-50 balls either. From Nico Vassen in goal, through with Ken Moncau at the heart of the defence, through to Stewart and Vinehart in attack. Huddersfield have been man for man the better side. It's a poor ball again from Austin. So Huddersfield continue to stroke this ball around. It's at times like a practice match, as though the opposition isn't there. And here is Weinhardt again with a tee. Oh, that's a magnificent strike. The ball was always rising just over the top of the angle from Beach, but he really does know where the net is. Loves scoring goals from midfield. And he may well turn out to be a crucial signing by Peter Jackson. Well, they're on the charge again. And Weinhardt's pulling them all over the place. It's Baldry's ball in, stabbed away. Crystal Palace all at 6s and 7s throughout this half defensively. And Digby has had little protection at times. And it wouldn't surprise me if Steve Coppell didn't bring on Andy Linnigan at some stage, or possibly even the other young defender, David Woosley. It's those defenders who have been tormented in this half, just a little shell-shocked. Scott Sellers. Irons. There's a really positive look about the Huddersfield midfield today. Baldry. Not the best ball of the half. See what Dyson can do. Yeah, no better. Nice to see John Dyson, the local man, back in first team action this season. He was out of favour for much of last season. Irons, beautifully weighted ball over the top of Frampton. Baldry again needs to get a decent cross in. That he does this time, but first to it is Harris. But it really is a half that has gone totally Huddersfield's way. I can hardly remember Varson making a save. Digby, on the other hand, has been called upon frequently. And they're just trading headers, but not really getting the ball away. It really was anywhere will do. Another lovely ball from Irons. Certainly a half he'll be happy to remember, as will Chris Beach. And involved here 3 times already. Settles for the corner kick, however, this time off Jamie Smith. Well, I would imagine that Steve Bruce will be ecstatic by the events of these minutes in the first half. It could hardly have gone better. And another corner pinged across the heart of that area. It's into the danger zone. This time Fraser Digby is able to claim it. But Bruce has been critical of the side in away games. Happy enough with the home victory, of course, over Blackburn Rovers, but he really needed something after that performance against Scunthorpe. And the players have responded well. Fanji, the Asian footballer of the year there. Lost his compatriot Sun Jihai, has returned to China. I think it's safe to say that Crystal Palace will not be one of those sides figuring in the promotion run-in. There are so many good teams in the division. The likes of Birmingham City starting well. Fulham are obviously going to be quite strong. West Bromwich Albion have picked up a bit this year. Wolves too have started reasonably well. So really important to get a good start. Now then, Morrison. This is the first inkling of hope for Palace. Struck it straight against Lucchetti. So predictably here, Harris will hurl it in. And it's a good long throw. Whoops, and Morrison didn't seem too alert. He didn't seem to think the ball was going to get to him. And the corner's gone right across the face of that penalty area. Bradbury unable to get there. And finally away. Well, that was a good throw-in from Harris a moment or two ago, which almost perplexed Nico Vassen. Good stretch from Lucchetti to make sure he won the ball. Well, that's a good switch of play as well. There might be something here for Bradbury. He's surrounded immediately, still gets his shot away. And a good angle kept by the Belgian keeper. So what a superb half it has been for Huddersfield Town. And they lead Crystal Palace by 3-0 as the referee sends them to the dressing room. So the long throw by David Worsley. I thought that he and Linnigan might get a run out in the second half, and that is exactly the thinking of Steve Coppell too. He certainly had to react somehow. Beach right across field. Yep, Rob Edwards. That was a second half substitute. Nice position for him to come on. Maybe something for Stewart. It's 4. That is so typical Marcus Stewart. And nice that the substitute Edwards is involved straight away too. But Marcus Stewart sort of drifts past defenders. He really does ghost past them. Calls for the ball. You can see him with arms outstretched. One defender in his path. Right across the keeper into the corner. 4-0. And Marcus Stewart has his second of the season. Well, life is not getting any easier for Crystal Palace. And the points already in the bag for Huddersfield Town with their second home league win. Blackburn having been dispatched as well on that Friday evening game. And plenty of goals here for the fans to enjoy. 7 already in those 2 games from the home side. That first one, of course, was won dramatically in time added on by Rob Edwards. Here's the Palace throw. Whoops, too many cooks there. So Bradbury able to serve Frampton into a position of some danger, but John Dyson and the Huddersfield defence around him get that ball away up to halfway. Thompson. And Fanji. Well, the trouble with scoring 4 goals as early as this is that the fans expect a lot more. Maybe they're going to get more. Here's Weinhard, one-on-one with Linnigan, who shows his perhaps greater experience than the man who was in there in the first ahead of him. But nice touch again from Weinhard. He does seem to have good awareness about where his colleagues are. Nearly played Beach in again. Well, the crowd are noticeably gathering momentum in their support for the local heroes. The volume has been turned up. 4-0 it is, and I think they're going to be chanting about wanting 5, 6 or even more. Oh, that's a good piece of play from Bradbury. Drifted away from 2 markers. Oops, that's not so good. Well, to his credit, he kept going there. But I'm afraid that really does sum up Crystal Palace's game when they do something good, and then almost immediately they do something pretty horrid. As you can see, the shadow of the stand across the goal mouth here. But as far as Steve Bruce is concerned, Huddersfield have really come out of the shadows today. And Weinhardt has been an instrumental player for them. Never really got the opportunity at Leeds United. I think he was hoping to play alongside Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. It only happened on 2 or 3 occasions. But he really has emerged pretty well for Huddersfield at the start of this new season. Long ball from another former Leeds United player, Andy Linnigan. Oh, good energy shown by Baldry. And the chase might be on again down into this bottom left-hand corner. Covered by Dean Austin, the former Tottenham and Southend United player. He was one of the goal scorers in that victory at Barnsley. A rare goal from him. Again, won back all too easily by Huddersfield. They really have had too much power and willingness in the centre of midfield, but Stewart caught offside on this occasion. I'm sure Steve Coppell will just wonder where he's going to go from here with this side. Austin drilling it long, one of the better balls produced by a Palace player today. Trying to get Jamie Smith in. Jamie Smith, who scored in both of the Worthington Cup matches. They eliminated Colchester. Right across the area, and the first save that Vassen has had to make there, virtually. And Nico Vassen clattered by Clinton Morrison as he got down to it pretty well. First hint of danger to the Huddersfield goal in this half. And the chance of Nico really has become a firm favourite at Huddersfield. It's nicely done, Stewart and Weinhardt rattles in the shot. Palmed out by Digby on this occasion, but he certainly has a willingness to go for goal whenever the opportunity arises. And now he's chasing back and making life miserable for Linnigan. Oh, they like his tenacity. He's clearly a man with a point to prove. When you've got goals, you tend to pass the ball around confidently, and that's exactly what Huddersfield have done all afternoon. And it's exactly what they're continuing to do here. Edwards. Always been a popular player here, Rob Edwards, after his move from Crewe. And here is Stewart again, into that area he goes, corner this time. And whenever Palace are on the back foot, you almost fear for them. Scott Sellers has to be left-footed with him. Round about the penalty spot. There it goes. Lucchetti looking for his second goal as well. He was another scorer at Scunthorpe. Irons has dictated everything in midfield. And again, Weinhardt there. Winning the throw off Andy Linnigan. Although since Linnigan's arrival, they've not quite looked so brittle at the back. Andy Linnigan, nobody can ever take it away from him. He was a man who scored an FA Cup final winning goal. Arsenal against Sheffield Wednesday 6 years ago. Baldry will settle for a corner. Much as 4-0 sounds nice, I'm sure those fervent Huddersfield fans would like 1 or 2 more yet. So Scott Sellers comes this side to take the latest corner. Headed Headed in here, off the line once, not the second time, surely. Yes, it's off the underside of the bar. Well, just as it seemed certain, it looked like Beach to me who got in that shot, but it looked as though it was going to be 5. It's still 4. Huddersfield is still swarming around that Palace goal. It thumped across by Stewart. Still they can't get the ball away cleanly. But Huddersfield's so unlucky not to be 5 to the good as Bradbury is allowed to continue with his run here. Tries to play Morrison in, and I think he is caught offside. But how close were Huddersfield there to a 5th goal? Let's have a look at this again. There's the first header, which came in from Weinhardt, and then it is Beach, and it's right down off the underside. Not a Jeff Hurst, it didn't cross the line. Vassen will welcome some action, I would think. Even though it's a nice Saturday afternoon for lazing around in the sunshine. He might have some work to do here. Not a great deal. Palace have rarely looked like beating him today. Weinhardt on. Baldry's in here, and Simon Baldry might be on the score sheet. Fraser Digby makes sure he isn't. It's a long time since Simon scored. His last goal was that winner against West Bromwich Albion, April of last year. Didn't get one at all last season. Irons. He has got a goal today. Now then Rob Edwards. Oh, and they really are toying with this Palace defence. It's Weinhardt again. This time Linnigan and Woosley are able to do something about it. Too long surely for young Morrison, who's learning his apprenticeship the hard way in this Palace side, which is struggling, but he has got a couple of goals for them, Clinton Morrison, this season, and he scored against Huddersfield twice in the 2-2 draw last May. But it's difficult coming into a struggling side, as so many of these young players are. Frampton and Harris, Thompson, Mullins, Morrison, all very young players. Here goes Bradbury, one of the more experienced. Big, strong centre forward. Again, it's dealt with at the back by Huddersfield. And, Ken Munko and Chris Lucchetti forged an excellent partnership. It's to the other end we look now, though. Not for very long. There's one player who hasn't had the greatest of afternoons so far. It has been Simon Baldry, but things might change for him. And Steve Bruce getting more animated. He was able to just sit and relax in that first half when the goals were flying in from all angles. John Dean joining him there, surely not looking at his watch. I'd think they'd want it to go on forever. And a good old-fashioned shoulder charge doesn't put Clyde Weinhardt off, and here he goes, and that's a brilliant strike. Brilliant goal by the Dutchman. And Clyde Weinhardt really took care of Andy Linnigan here. Now Linnigan is 6'4". He's a good 2 or 3 inches taller than Weinhardt, but look at this. Drags the ball away from him, on into the penalty area, and Huddersfield are about to go nap, as they say. It's 5 for them. Super goal, and Clyde Weinhardt has even more admirers here. Really is a question of character for these Crystal Palace players now, trying to keep their nerve, keep their game going, and it's been a damage limitation exercise for a long time. Armstrong hitting the ball straight out on the full. Whoops, the steward certainly won't make a goalkeeper, and I think Steve Coppell wants to make another change. He's going to bring on Matthias Svensson, who came to Palace from Portsmouth, also used to play at FC Tirol in Austria. And Huddersfield are going to give Scott Sellers a well-earned rest as well. It'll be the former Manchester United player Ben Thornley who replaces him. Well, I think Steve Coppell could make 7 or 8 changes and it wouldn't make the slightest difference. It really has been a sobering experience for Crystal Palace, but Steve Coppell's a very forthright man, and I've no doubt he'll have something to say about it afterwards. He said the other week he was just happy that they were actually getting paid at the moment. Such is the parlous state of Crystal Palace, and that just shows how parlous it is. But it really has been a stroll in the summer sunshine for Huddersfield Town. And one of their most emphatic victories for years. Possession picked up all too easily for them again. Inside that Palace half. Baldry now. One of the Huddersfield-born players, of course, Simon Baldry, involved again. Just makes a gift of the ball to Svensson, the newcomer. The first thing he does is play it directly against an opponent, and Huddersfield might have even more chances around this penalty area. Beach always involved, nearly went down under the challenge, could well have done! What a way to get a hat-trick! What a goal from Clyde Vinehart! You won't see many more acrobatic than that. And again, his awareness and his positioning exemplary. But Svensson was the one who gave the ball away initially. Beach got into the penalty area here, took it on from Vinehart, nearly tripped up there by Woosley. The cross perfect, but what about the acrobatics? 9.9 for execution. 6-0 Huddersfield Town lead, and a first ever hat-trick in English football for the Dutchman Clyde Vinehart. And you couldn't ask to score it in more spectacular fashion. Beach did so well here, but Vinehart, the execution, fantastic. 9.9, and I believe it's his first ever hat-trick in any football. Well, Crystal Palace just will want to get on that bus and go home. They've had a horrible day. Woosley with a long ball up, straight onto Dyson's head. Roger clatters into Dyson. There might be something now for Frampton with the cross. Well, you get the feeling there is nothing at all on this afternoon for Crystal Palace. They've just not been able to cope with the pace up front of Vinehart and the support play from Marcus Stewart. The midfielders, Kenny Irons in particular, and Chris Beach have swarmed over them. Head at the back, Ken Monkhout could not have had a better home debut. And it's a massive lift this for Steve Bruce, for John Dean, and for Huddersfield as a club after a rather faltering start to the season. They lost on the opening day at Queen's Park Rangers, something no side wants to do. They've stuttered through the Worthington Cup against Scunthorpe United. But today, it has all come right. And how? Thornley with the throw. Maybe the only surprise is that Huddersfield have scored 6, and only one of those has been registered by Marcus Stewart. Remember, he got 26 last season. And he also got a hat-trick in this corresponding fixture, a 4-0 game. So, how Palace hate coming to the McAlpine Stadium. They've actually got possession here with Woosley. Long run out of defence from him. And then Bradbury. And Woosley continues his canter, tries to win it off Dyson. And Varson just grateful for a touch of the football. Flicked on again. Of course, every player in a situation where the team is leading 6-0 wants the ball. They sense more goals in the offing. So Baldy wins the throw. There seem to be a lot of goals around the country generally today. But perhaps nobody will get more than Huddersfield, who are going to make another substitution. I think Barry Horn's going to come on in place of Kenny Irons now. So the Welsh international getting his chance, and a good hand for the former Tranmere Rovers player, who's clearly become an influential figure at Huddersfield. Crystal Palace have just not coped with Huddersfield all afternoon. And they've come off second best on just about every 50-50 ball I can remember. Thompson. It certainly changed the mood at the McAlpine as well. Maybe one or two supporters at the beginning of the afternoon a little worried, a little tentative. But how they've revelled in the 6 goals that they've seen. Struck, and there, a terrific piece of defending really, because it looked odds on that Frampton was going to come in and get himself a goal. But, every man jack of this Huddersfield side doing his job. Corner well delivered, and they have a goal, and it's headed in by, of all people, Andy Linnigan. Well, I say of all people, he's a big man, he makes his presence felt, and that's Andy Linnigan's first goal for more than 2 seasons. It's still 6-1 though. Well, I'm sure Steve Bruce would love to have nilled Crystal Palace. No matter how many goals you get, you want to stop the opposition scoring. So Andy Linnigan has thwarted that particular ambition. And another move thwarted there by Austin's intervention. Thompson now. Palace enjoying their best little spell here. Frampton coming to win it, and Baldry's done some good tracking back this afternoon. It's not the first occasion in this half where he's got back to do his duties well. Austin, and then Woosley, another of the 19-year-olds at Crystal Palace in first team action, probably ahead of the time really. Oh, there's not enough weight on that pass, and Beach will dig in there to win it. He'll also release Thornley. Thornley's through ball. It's Marcus Stewart. Got to be 7. 2 for Stewart, 7 for Huddersfield. And a sensational afternoon of goal scoring for the Terriers. Well, I said it was unusual for him to have only got 1 out of 6. He's now got 2 out of 7. He'll feel a lot happier about that. And Stewart, who has got 4 goals in his previous 2 appearances against Crystal Palace, now makes it 6 in 3 for him. Quality ball from Ben Thornley, and a typically stylish finish to go with it for Marcus Stewart. And this now represents Huddersfield's biggest league win for 20 years. Well, there won't have been many people who had a bet on Huddersfield scoring 7 today, especially after they failed to score at all against Scunthorpe. Stewart is looking to set up number 8. Even Barry Horn wants to get in on the act. Weinhardt, touched in by Thornley. Well, they really are teasing and tormenting this Palace side. It's Edwards, it's a cross here, and booted out by Andy Frampton. Just look at the number of blue and white shirts camped on the edge of that Palace area. They just cannot get the ball away today. Super skill. Thornley clips it in here. It might be 8 even yet. Austin's header only reaches Horn. Dyson. Actually, Dyson scored against Palace last season. Right at the end of it, the day ended up getting concussed as well. I don't think he'll worry too much if he's not on the score sheet today. Edwards again. And they're all at sea at the back of Palace. Stewart didn't quite get the touch. It's away by Woosley. Barry Horn again. Well, they're just queuing up. They're just simply passing the ball around. Weinhardt with the clip in. Well, Palace survive another scare. It's a total humiliation for them. And in what is expected to be an extremely competitive division, I'm afraid Crystal Palace haven't competed well at all. It really has been the easiest imaginable win for Huddersfield Town and for Steve Bruce. And no doubt allowing himself a glass of something tonight to celebrate. Woosley. Up with scoring 7 is that the Huddersfield fans will expect it every week from now on. It just doesn't work like that in this game, and nothing works out there either for Lee Bradbury. Referee Kane, I think, has looked at his watch there, but says play on. Huddersfield will happily play on. It's Stewart. This may well be number 8. Now Woosley, to his credit, gets across, concedes the corner, but that's better than conceding an 8th goal. Well, there are a lot of happy, smiling faces among the Huddersfield fans today, I can tell you. Thornley. It really has ignited the season for them. Again, it's Thornley. Palace have just never got the ball away comfortably. Thornley pushes it forward. He'll be looking for a back heel here from Stewart. It's Thornley! Well, a few fans there roaring. They thought the ball was in the net again. It is, but it's the side netting. But again, it's this ability that Marcus Stewart has to just tee supporting players up. But it was the side net. And Huddersfield willing to sweep forward again. Horn clips it forward. Looks as though Stewart may well have been in an offside position, but the referee says play on. And Digby belts it up inside that Huddersfield Town half. There was a handball there. Well, the forlorn looking Clinton Morrison. Well, what an afternoon for Steve Bruce, what an afternoon for Huddersfield Town and their fans. Their biggest win for 20 years. Steve Coppell doesn't know what to do. Huddersfield Town 7, Crystal Palace 1. It has a resounding ring about it. A hat-trick for Clyde Weinhardt, a couple for Marcus Stewart, Chris Beach and Kenny Irons on the score sheet too. I'll say it again, Huddersfield Town 7, Crystal Palace 1.
Steve, you must be delighted with that.
Yeah, it was a great performance. It's nice to score like that. We're not going to get carried away with it though. But it was a good performance. We played some excellent stuff, and some of the goals we scored I would have thought contenders for goal of the season already. You know.
I know you were saying singing the praises of Clyde Weinhardt when you signed him, but I mean it was a brilliant hat-trick, wasn't it?
Well, as I said to everybody at the time, you know, it's going to take time for people to settle. Today we've seen what Clyde's about. He'll be an absolute handful for any First Division defence. Him and Marcus, I think, will be a great strike force, and today they've showed that. It's important though at this level that we keep maintaining that week in and week out. It's a hard division. You said that it would take time for some of the new lads to gel together, but I mean, just picking out another individual, Kenny Irons got a standing ovation when he came. Yeah, I thought Kenny was excellent too. Again, he's never been out of Liverpool, you know. 10 years for one club, he's come, strange environment, strange place to play. He needs that little time to settle, but I think that'll do them the world of good, you know. It'll do them the world of good, but we're not going to get carried away with it. But we play Monday, and start to arrest the situation away from home, and we'll be okay.
It will make others in the league maybe stand up and take notice of a result like that, but you want to keep the lads' feet on the ground.
Oh yeah, that's important. That's my job, isn't it?
And obviously, more days like that you'd like to have.
Well, I'm sure we all enjoy days like that, but that's the benchmark we can set ourselves. That's the standard we can play at. It's up to us to maintain it. Cheers.
Thanks very much. It was fairly straightforward.
Oh yeah, I think Marcus, she was flicked and it just came to my feet, and I was looking what the keeper was doing in the weight and just passed him through him.
The second one was a bit more special.
I think Craig Armstrong passed it in the channel, and it just went to channels with the defender, and I won it, and just look what the keeper was doing and passed it next to him.
And if that was a good one, the third one was spectacular.
Yeah. What's your name again? Beachy. He just flicked it over the defenders and just kicked it backwards in.
But you've been a bit modest there, because overhead kicks always look a bit special, don't they?
It is. And yeah, today was my lucky day, I think. I had a hat-trick, so I had a good day today.
You must be delighted, because as well as your goals, I mean, Marcus got 2 as well, and the two of you look a tremendous partnership up front.
The thing is, there are a lot of new players at Huddersfield, and yeah, I think the more games we're playing, the better we are. And today we proved that we can score as well.
I know it's very early season, but certainly the fans are hopeful that this could be a promotion year. What's the mood amongst the players?
I think everybody's delighted to promote to the Premier League, because yeah, we got lots of good players, and yeah, if we play like today, we've got a good chance.
And I'm sure you've scored many hat-tricks perhaps in your career before.
No, the first one.
This is the very first
one? The first one. So I'm very pleased with it.
Many more to come, do you think?
I hope so. Cheers.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Clive. Cheers.